Tuck. Good to see all of y'all that will eventually come in. I told you I'm writing out a windstorm. That's what the title's about. So what you're hearing is 40 to 50 plus mile an hour gusts. And so therefore you get to see the dancing trees. We're not going to be outside in it because it's too damn windy. Now, if you watch tomorrow's video, you will definitely be able to see. Okay, we got a like in here, so that means we got people coming in. All right, perfect. If you, hey, what's up, Occult? Nice to see you. All right. Yeah, for some reason, it's not giving me real updates on like how many people are in and out and stuff like that. I don't know if it's because of where I'm at, but you guys get to watch the dancing trees tonight. What's up, Matthew? Yeah, but tomorrow's video, Sam and I decided to take a walk. So here's the thing. Where did I, where was this really important? Okay, so when I first went from when I was in high school, and I went from Oregon to Texas because my old man, that's where he retired. I was Fort Hood, and so what's up, Bucknut? So when we came out of when I came out of Oregon, in order to get myself prepared for it, I put on sweaters and all kinds of other stuff, lots of layers, and I just went out there and I acclimated myself to it. It allowed me to quickly acclimate because I did it towards the hottest parts of the year. So I already got my body used to being like super overheated hot, so that when I took off the sweaters and stuff like that, I would feel cool. And that was kind of how I acclimated even as a teenager to going from Oregon weather, which is pretty much a high of 65 and 70, at least 4 or 5 months out of the year. About 3 weeks out of the year, you get 90s. Past that, it's not really hot there. I grew up in a cold climate. And so going from that to Texas, I mean, I thought I was going to melt, but that was how I acclimated. So I use that same philosophy with this. I really don't like the wind, and I really don't like dealing with the wind, but that is the dominant weather that is around here. And so I have two choices. I can either let the wind dictate whether or not I get work done, or I can get out there and get stuff done. Does that mean I have to do it all the time? No, but I need to be able to sit there and be like, and not let the wind be a part of my, be a part of what deters me from doing it. There are certain parts like where my garden is, it's actually fairly well protected by the trailer. And what I think I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up putting a rock barrier down there around the corner. That way it kind of blocks the underwind. That way, if I got wind coming from the south, then that means it'll be nice. But then I've got to worry about wind from the north. And I'm probably going to have to build my own little rock barrier there as well. It'll probably be easier to build a rock barrier there, like a small little one that'll protect the triangle, versus trying to build up the walls all the way so that they're up there. So if I create a wind barrier that's probably about 4 feet wide and probably about maybe 3 or 4 foot tall, and it's probably about a foot and a half deep. Do I have safety glasses to wear? No, I do not. To keep stuff out of your eyes in the wind. No, I do not. I do not have any type of glasses, any type of stuff. If you guys want to send me something like that, it'd be much appreciated. What's up, Tommy? What's up, Edward? Okay. Up 7%. 7%. Okay. Oh, your battery. Okay. You gonna get your wife to come in from the kitchen again, Bucknut? Okay. Nice to see you, Tommy. All right. But yeah, no, I don't have any safety squints. Yeah, pretty much. That sounds right. Yeah, it's kind of like 450. Do you have air conditioning? I got 450. So, for those of you that are too young that don't really understand what that means, like back in the day when air conditioning wasn't common in a car, you would just go down the freeway at 50 miles an hour with all 4 windows rolled down, and that was your air conditioning back then. You didn't have AC in every car. It was like a luxury item. Oh, you got your kid to do it? What are you, the regular Al Bundy? Honestly, Al Bundy was pretty cool. I mean, for as much shit as he got, yeah, Al Bundy was pretty cool. But safety squints, okay. All right, yeah, your kid did it. So oh, what I'm trying to. I had you know what sucks is I need to start writing this down. But hey, I want to remind you. Ow, crap. Um, So I want to remind you guys of the contest that we've got going on. So those of you that want to participate in the raffle that happens on the first of every month. So we're almost to the 15th. So you've got you just got a couple days over 2 weeks before we do the next raffle. First prize is the shirt. It is the lead dog shirt, whatever your size is. Second prize is a Patreon membership inner circle, and then the third prize is Patreon membership digital homesteader. All right, so with that being said, that is what your what it is. So it's $5 for anybody that wants to do that wants to buy a ticket, or you get double ticket for Patreon memberships, single tickets for YouTube memberships. Okay, so those also count. What Blade Obsession has 2 tickets. Matt the Cat has 1 ticket. Stephanie at openairproperties.net has 1 ticket. Bucknut has 1 ticket. Home for your money has 1 ticket. Okay, so those are all the tickets that we have for the raffle that'll be happening. If anybody else would like to get into a ticket, now's the time. I never scored 4 touchdowns for Polk High either. Okay, hold on, I'm missing something. Basically, except for my daughter isn't a whore and my son is smart. Yeah, well, pretty much. Do you sit there with your hand down your pants? I never scored 4 touchdowns for Polk High either. Yeah, but yeah, Al Bundy was more of a representation, just like Friar Tuck. I mean, I'm not a member of the Catholic Church. I'm not actually part of the order of Saint Francis of Assisi, but I'm still Friar Tuck. Or as I've become known lately as Professor Tuck. So did any of you guys? So I'm curious. Those of you guys that are over on Patreon, did you see that video that I put out? It was a link that I shared. It is my source article. It's about the Aspen Institute and their digital literacy program. Just kind of how it's being implemented and how it's being established nationwide. This is something I saw like around 2010 or so. And I got to see it. It wasn't on YouTube at that time, but I did put the YouTube link in there. No, I am not an Esquire. Do not call me an Esquire. I am not a step below a gentleman. I am an American. I'm proud of it. As you guys get to hear me talk about history and American history, especially legal history, as you guys prompt me with certain questions, you'll understand more and more why I don't want the title of like Esquire. I don't want any nobility, because one thing that I've always said, and I've even made a video on it, is go look at your state's constitutional amendments. Now, the state of Oregon was the last state in to join the Union before the Civil War. It joined in 1859. If you go look at the state of Oregon, they have a photocopy of the original Constitution. It is kind of hard to make out because it's old and it's been digitized and all that other stuff. But the original 13th Amendment was no titles of nobility. Post-Civil War, it gets implemented into the Constitution, and therefore they erased the original 13th Amendment to replace it with neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States. So that's there. There was the way that our founding fathers saw it is that esquires, which were agents of the bank, which is why they got a step below gentleman status, which means they weren't nobles. They were kind of like knights, but for the bank. They were legal scholars, and therefore they created and shaped laws to protect the interests of the banks. And so as they got involved into American politics, like Thomas Jefferson and them saw it as something that was the banks trying to subvert the will of the people. So the states formed they ended up creating a constitutional amendment to ban titles of nobility from any public office or from being a citizen of the several states. That was the big thing, is that if you were a nobleman, your if you were an esquire, your allegiance was to the Crown Bank of England. Your allegiance was to the Crown of England. Your allegiance is not to America. And the thing is there was people that called that into question. I think it was either in the 30s or the 50s. And when they called that into question, what they ended up saying was that the British Bar Association was too influential on the American Bar Association, so therefore they needed to break ties because there was too much outside influence, because they were becoming our politicians. They were at one point in time banned from being politicians, but now there are politicians. So the American Bar Association still gets its charter from the British Bar Association, but calls itself the American Bar Association. But again, it gets its charter from the British Bar Association. So do they have any real autonomy, or is what they're being handed down in order to be able to keep their license? Is that something that that they can follow through on? So that is the reason why an esquire is so dangerous, because they're not there. They do not represent you, the client, and it even says it on the American Bar Association's website. They do not represent the client. They represent the interests, the financial interests of the parties involved, such as, well, if the state is coming after you, well, the state has the highest financial interest, so therefore they represent them. But they are only representing them as an agent of the bank to begin with, because that was their original mandate. That was where the Lawyers Guild, that was the influence that built it. It was curated and created by banking interests a few hundred years ago. Now, to say that that was a pure creation of the legal system, no. What I'm saying is that is when the legal system made a huge change, because therefore it stopped being about common law and it started being about bankers' law. But this is just my opinion. Okay. I did buy 2 pair of shoes tonight, though. I needed them badly. Wow, Professor Truck. Oh, okay. Wow, you need. Yeah, I need to get myself some new shoes here pretty soon, anyways, because I'm starting to get holes. These boots have held out. So if you are looking for a good pair of lightweight boots, one brand that I can recommend. Now they are about $60. They're trail runners, but they're boots. But it's by Free Soldier. Here, I'll show you real quick. Okay, so these are my boots. These are by Free Soldier. They're tactical boots. They cost about $60 unless you buy them on sale, like I did for 30. Okay, but these right here, you can find them on Amazon if you guys are looking for a decent pair of boots. These have been very durable, especially with all the rocks that we have around here and stuff. That's kind of really what started wearing them down much quicker. But I've been wearing these out here for about 6 months, and so for a pair of boots, especially with all of the stuff I got going around here, it's not the best pair of boots, but the bang for your buck is definitely there. So just for those of you that are curious. But anyways, what is today? Today is Tuesday. What kind of shoes you were wearing? Because yeah, that terrain will tear up shoes. Here's the biggest thing to understand, Matthew. Your shoes, if you're deciding, okay, I'm going to get on trail, I'm gonna bug out, I'm gonna relocate, I'm gonna be homeless and a nomad, whatever your choice is gonna be, whatever it is that you choose that you're gonna do, you have to look at the terrain, because that's going to tell you what type of shoes that you want. You want hard soles if you're going to be on hard stuff, such as either concrete or rocks, because it's going to wear down your shoe much quicker. And also, I've had like soft soles for while being on rocks, because when I was on the AT last year, that one that was really hurting my feet until I got boots. Once I got good shoes and I got hard soles, man, I wasn't hobbling along because it was very painful. So your terrain determines what it is that you're going to wear. The worse the terrain, you're gonna want hard soles. So like if you're going to be train hopping, that's why you want boots. If you're going to be out here in the Arizona desert, that's why you want boots. But if you're just going to be running like the Florida Trail, you can get soft soles perfectly fine. You don't need to spend the extra money or have the extra weight on hard soles. Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's really not the people think you got to go spend a lot of money on gear. But how do you know what money to spend on gear until you know exactly what you're going to need and what your decision factor is? So give me one of you guys, maybe you guys could give me something. I'll tell you, I'll kind of give you a basic rundown of how one of the things I've learned, over the years is kind of how to do my logistics and travel and all that other stuff. Give me a scenario. Where am I? What area of the country am I going to what other area of the country am I going to, and how am I traveling? Give me those parameters, and I could probably give you a decent understanding of how to choose your gear, because your gear, the gear doesn't make the person makes the gear. But the most important part that the gear does for you is it allows you to survive the terrain because you understand the terrain, and that is the most important part. So for example, if I wanted to go from here to Sholo, which is about a day and a half, 2-day walk, depending upon how long I decide to walk. Okay. Well, I'm going to want hard soles because I'm going to be walking on rocks and probably tarmac or road for a good part of the way. Because they've got juniper trees here. There's no way I'm going to be able to set up a hammock as much as I would love to. If I find a place off to the side of the road or a little, because they have little pull off areas around on the way in, I just pull up there, set up a tent. So yeah, you want to have a tent, but like, what kind of ground cover do you need? Like, what is the terrain like? Are you going to need something that's, because you got to deal with a lot of pointy rocks. So are you going to need something that's going to be more durable, like a free soldier tarp? Or do you really just need something thin, just something to put underneath, for like the tiny little stuff that you don't really see, or the micro trash? Okay, that depends upon that tells you what gear you're going to get. You need to understand the terrain that you're going to be traveling, and then understand what the obstacles are and what gear you need to help you overcome those obstacles. There's no point in going and building a bug out bag or an I'm never coming home bag unless you understand the terrain that you're traversing, because that's going to be the most important part. How are you traversing it? Are you using a car? Are you on foot? Are you on bike? Are you hopping freight trains? Are you thumbing it? Like, how is it that you're traveling? And that's going to dictate where you sleep, how you sleep, where you find sleeping spots. Because if you're on trail, you can sleep anywhere. But if you're thumbing it, you've got to find places outside of town, and you got to be able to jump in state or national forest, which is out in the rural areas, so that you can actually have a place to stay. It's a one night thing, so they're not going to really mess with you as long as you go incognito. So therefore, stealth camping. How do you stealth camp? What is it that's going to help you blend in around that community? Things like that. Those are the things that you should really be considering when you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to bug out. Are you going 20, 30 miles? Are you going 100 miles, 200 miles, 500 miles? Are you going clear across country? Are you running from the apocalypse, or are you just trying to get from one area to another? So for example, after I pay this property off, I want to buy a piece of property in Colorado, most likely. That's going to be my next goal. Why? That way, if something ever happens here, I can bug out to my other property. So now I will know, okay, this is how much it's like what terrain I'm going to be going over, stuff like that. So when I get to that point, I will most likely figure out a way to get up there, whether it be by somebody giving me a ride or whatever it may be, getting up there and then figuring out how to hike back. So therefore I know what gear to prepare, so that I know I have it on hand the moment I need to head out of town. Because if you don't know where you're going, then you don't know what gear you need, because there's been different parts of the trail and different parts of the way that I've traveled where a hammock works and then other parts a hammock does not work. Okay. And so if you're choosing gear and stuff like that and you're thinking about survival, these are real things that you've got to consider. So if somebody says, give me a gear list, I can't give you a gear list if I was being honest with you, because it depends upon what it is you're trying to accomplish. Do you want something that's durable, which means it's gonna be heavier, which means you're gonna move slower, it's gonna be more painful on your back? Does it have the proper support system in place to mitigate a lot of the extra weight that frame is bringing on you? Or do you go with a flimsy frame like what I have through Teton, where it's just two aluminum flat poles that go down to give it its shape? Past that, it's basically a tube with kickstands essentially. But that right there with all the material is like 4.5 pounds versus the 7 to 9 pounds that's something with more of a metal frame. But do I need it to last me forever, or do I need it to last me from point A to point B? Okay. And will it last me a little bit longer before and a little bit longer after, so I can get used to it, acclimated to it, all this other stuff? So therefore, that's going to be what you use to choose what gear it is that you're going to have, because you got to figure out what your limitations are, what it is that is going to hold you back. Okay. I heard Poplar was talking about getting socks today in case shortages hit. Military will always tell you to change your socks. Here's what I will tell you. You can wear the same socks every day. Here's what you've got to do, the mistakes that I made, because this is why they tell soldiers that you got to have 2 pair of socks, keep your socks dry, all this other stuff, is because as you're going, you're not thinking about your feet. You're just thinking go, 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 go. So the reality, if you want to do maintenance and you ain't got a lot of socks, what you really need to do is make sure that as soon as you get into camp, you guys have heard me even Jeremy made a comment one day, like how comfortable I am walking around barefoot. Well, walking around barefoot lets a lot of that dirt and a lot of that stuff get in there. Therefore, it counteracts the bacteria that's forming between my toes as I sweat and stuff like that. Plus, it airs them out. Plus, if you've got water on you, it doesn't take a lot of water to sit there and run a little bit over the toes and in your cracks, and just a slight trickle. You don't need to like douse them or put them in a bucket or anything like that, or be absorbent. You can still keep your feet managed without having a ton of socks. What you really want to focus on is instead of just getting plain old socks, you want to get wool socks. You want something that's got like Darn Tough socks, which I strongly recommend. You can also get those on Amazon. I used to have the affiliate links for all that stuff, but that's in my older videos. Actually, it might be in this one. Who knows? Not 100% sure. But Darn Tough socks, they're 67% wool. Okay, 20 or 33% polyester. Okay, so what that means is that you better be careful, because I've still got to send in, because they come with a lifetime replacement. They're $27. But regular old cotton socks, those are bad for you. You don't want that, especially if you're bugging out, especially if you got issues, especially if you have to really be thoughtful about your hygiene and keeping your body, going while you're out there in the elements. You want wool socks. You don't want cotton. There's a rule within the hiking community that cotton is fatal. Okay, I can't use the real words because I don't want to be censored. But cotton is fatal, especially out here, because it doesn't dry well. If it gets dirty, it doesn't keep you warm. So therefore, you're forced to wash and do stuff like that. Cotton is more for the rich person who has the ability to do laundry. Okay, and in the future, that's what a rich person will be. The upper middle class, oh my gosh, they can do laundry. They don't have to sit there and do what I do. So I wear Darn Tough socks, American made with lifetime warranty. Pricey, but if you wear them out and send them, yes, that's exactly why I bought them. I've just got to get into like an REI though, because I want to have them replaced in person. I don't trust the mail out here anymore. If you send it through the post office, they can't deny me. But if I try and get packages delivered from any third-party carrier, I run into issues. he likes to deny shipments. And so therefore I'm going to have to limit how I get stuff, or see if I can find somebody else in the community that will let me use their address, and get some shipments, like somebody that's got a physical address, to where like at Amazon or FedEx will come out and do that. Because then I can start ordering Sam's dog food and get her better dog food than the cheap crap they got down here at the Family Dollar. It'll make life a lot easier if I could actually get shipments. But between what's going on with the post office guy and my month's supply of food getting sent back, which kind of really pissed me off. Because that puts me in a bind. Uh, the shelves out here at the Family Dollar are getting bare. They're not really fully stocked. They haven't been fully stocked since about a month after I got here. It was stocked for a while, but I've noticed that it doesn't stay that stocked. And the weird thing is, the candy aisle is always full, but everything else is gone. Like there are certain sections of the grocery area that they don't even have things that they've had consistently for a while. So at least out here in the grocery stores, it's hard. So being able to get a food shipment is critical. And with this guy playing technicalities, all it's doing is being disruptive to people. So let's see here. Cotton. Yeah. Yes, pretty much, Tommy. You can stay warm better with wool if you get wet. Yeah, because it doesn't lose its warming properties. That's another reason why I was thinking about maybe getting cashmere goats. But once I heard the process of how it takes to get enough, it'll take me 10 years just to get a sweater. Because you gotta comb them every day and take the loose hairs and hold them off until you can twine it into some yarn. And so that's gonna take a while. At least that's what I've been told. Okay. I have one pair of Darn Tough socks though. They're nice, noticeably better than the cheap ones I get. Yes. And during the winter they were the best things. The only thing is, I got to tell you, is don't put them near any type of warm object, a flame, anything like that, because even near it, I put a hole in my socks real quick. It's the polyester in it that really screws it up. The wool itself is supposed to have fire retardant properties, at least from what I understand. But yeah, Darn Tough socks is good. So why go get cotton socks? I mean, all it does is line the pockets of some corporation, and it's not effective. The reason why I'm so frustrated with commerce in the modern society is because they're too busy trying to get you to buy things that you don't like, you don't need, you really don't want, nor could you afford to begin with. And they're trying to create artificial situations of like, oh my God, you're in a timeshare. Well, yeah, they churned you to get you in the timeshare. Now they're going to churn you to get out of the timeshare. You got nothing, and everybody else got paid. This is just the way that commerce is it's too busy giving you stuff you don't want or need, and trying to sell to a market and an audience that really wouldn't benefit from it. Why would you? I mean, unless you expect everybody's going to be stay house, and the economy is going to be just as good as it has been for the last 20 years, the next 20 years are going to be just as good as the last 20 years. Well, then, then yeah, go buy yourself a pair of cotton socks. But I don't think it's going to be that way. I think that the days are numbered. We've gotten like 60 some odd votes, and it's pretty much like almost 70% of the votes are either it's already here or less than a year. Poly dries fast and moisture wicking great in the heat. Yeah, until until you get in the cold when you really need it. Because here's the thing I've learned about wool. Okay, I got to figure out how to do this by next winter, because I want to have wool gloves, wool socks. I want to have the whole wool 9 yards. But the thing is, with wool, in order to warm it up, you either got to let your body warm up to it, or you can toast it a little bit. And at least, I don't know if they actually used to do that back in the day, or if that's just something that Hollywood does. But I just figured, hey, you should be able to warm them up or toast them up just a little bit, so that when you put them on, they're nice and warm, and therefore you get to retain your body heat instead of freezing your ass off for the next 30 minutes while you warm up the wool, so they can get acclimated to your body temperature. That's the weird thing is it's really that was how I ended up getting a hole in my darn tough socks to begin with, because I was trying to toast them. But that's the during the winter there. Most people are like, hey, it's hot, but you got to realize most of the reason why you buy the clothes and the gear you have isn't to survive summer, isn't to survive spring or fall. It's to survive winter. That is the most important season that you need to plan for at all points in time, because if the resources fall apart, whether it be power plants going out, whether it be banks collapsing, or whatever, you need to have a source to be able to make sure that you stay warm in the winter so that you don't freeze to unalive. And you've also got to make sure that you've got your basic food and water necessities. um, I'm working on a garden right now. I'm waiting for this wind to stop. um, and I won't be able to get outside until about Thursday, which is why I'm doing some other content talking about some other subjects, drumming up some rebel support, because this week I'm going to get out. I want to build some walls, and I want to start clearing out an area for the driveway, because I'm hoping that if not this month, then next month, I would really like to be able to get me another IBC tote. But they're talking about sending me a metal one, and it's going to cost me like $300 and some dollars and I still got to pay like $85 for the water. So I need to, so that I can make sure that I can water my garden enough, I need to figure out a way to get things going up. So that's why I've been working on some stuff. But hey, also that's what your contributions, your memberships, your raffle tickets, that's what it all contributes to. Mm. All right. Boiling water in Nalgene, then putting the socks over the bottle for a few minutes. Put the bottle in your sleeping bag. Yes. But water in the desert, water is scarce. What do you do? Um, you know, do you put it in a? Well, no, you can't even put them in a pan. You probably have to do something like a moist rag in order. Yeah, you're right. There's that's And so therefore you're gonna take extra water that you could use for survival, especially with as scarce as water is in certain parts of this country. Yeah, it'll be an issue, because now you have to ration yourself somewhere else, because where you put extra water in this area, you have to take that extra water away from other areas. So you might not be able to take a shower every single day. You get to take a shower every third day, just so that you can make sure that you still have enough water. But that's just my opinion. I'm no survival expert. I've just been living it for so many years. It's just kind of second nature to me. I don't really think about it. One of the things that still baffles me and floors me is how sometimes I tell you guys this stuff, and I thought that it was common knowledge. Everybody knew it. And people are like, wow, I didn't know that. I never even thought about things like that. And it's like, dude, this is how you survive. I thought everybody knew this. So, but survival is survival. Uh, okay. Um, all right. So we've been going for a little bit. Hey, does anybody have any more questions? So, this is the time to kind of ask me questions and stuff like that. My brain, it kind of drawn a blank. I spent a lot of time doing I mean, well, I took Sam for a walk today, though. That was nice. That was really nice taking Sam for a walk. She, I'm, see, she's one of those dogs that won't take a crap where you can see it. So I never know if she's using the bathroom. I just kind of got to take her and do a nice little long walk and hope she finds a spot, because she'll duck behind a bush and I won't even know it, because she just wants her private. She's very self-conscious, very, very self-conscious about using the bathroom. She won't even go on property. She has to go off property or where she thinks she's out of camp. Um, she's done this since the day I had her. It's the most fascinating thing in the world. She'll set up a perimeter and then she will go outside of that perimeter to use the bathroom. Anybody else ever had a dog do that? Poly dries fast. Okay, boiling water. Okay. How's Signal, guys? Is Signal pretty good? Well, okay. So I pretend not to look. You can still drink the water. Is in a bottle. Oh yeah, true. Boiling water, yeah, and then you just leave it outside. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Are we getting spinning wheels? How's the signal? Oh, and by the way, so those of you that have been watching this trending, this trending short or TikTok, it's telling a woman to calm down and watching her get hysterically madder as time goes along. Well, Sam decided right before we were going to start barking at me. So I figured I'd do a little play on that and see what happens. So if you haven't seen it, you probably should. That's the humor behind it. How old is Sam and how long have I had her? She was stray. I found her in um, I found her in like November of 23. And so yeah, I've had her since. So she's probably about 9 months old when I found her. Isn't this beautiful though? I mean, watching the trees and everything else like that. I mean, they're just dancing to a symphony. I mean, it's almost as entertaining as watching paint dry. But you know, if you smoke enough, you can definitely be entertained. Um, but that's one of the things that you'd have to do. So, just to make some light humor of this. Okay. What's up, Captain Apana? How are you doing today? I'm kind of, I don't know why I've been kind of blank. I had a lot that I wanted to chat about, but apparently, as soon as I went live, my brain went blank and said, oh well, I'll talk about some other stuff. So I need to start writing things down. Um, it's something that needs to be done. Um, but so all right. Well, hey guys, I'm gonna give a 2 minute warning. And then from there, we're going to go ahead. We're going to close out. It's beautiful there. I can imagine riding a horse or a motorcycle there. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to ride a motorcycle. You should be careful about horses. There is an equestrian trail around here, but you should be careful about horses because you've got the big cats. I'm not sure if it's bobcats, mountain lions. It's a big cat though. It's big enough to take you and your horse out. So that would be one thing that I worry about out here. But if you're carrying around a long rifle, you should be pretty good at protecting yourself from predators like that. But yeah, it is. That's the thing is as I'm walking around, I'm starting to see the more of the beauty in the landscape that I have. Ever since I moved the trailer from where it was to where it is now, I have a completely different view of my property. I'm actually happier with where my property is now that I've moved my trailer to where it is than I was. I mean, I've always been ecstatic about it, but it just not only did it change the landscape, but it really kind of gave me a good visual to see what it is that I really have. And I'm really ecstatic about it. And so as I get to go around, and if you're not a local here and you haven't been here for a while, you won't know about the waterfalls. You won't know about the lake. You won't know about the little sightseeing things that I'm being shown by some of the locals, and to show that there are some cool stuff to do around here. Or jaguars or something like. No, jaguars are desert. Any tortoises? I don't know. I think I saw. I don't know what kind. It's in the lizard family, but it kind of looked like one of those dinosaurs, the one with the club tail that was short but had like kind of wide with the spikes. Um, I forget what they're called, but I got to see one today. You'll see it. You'll see it at the end of tomorrow's video. For those of you that aren't members to the early cougar, okay. Okay. I heard a rumor that pumas have returned to the U.S. from Mexico. I'm not 100% sure. I just found out we got a fire about 30 miles from me. And with these winds, I'm surprised. I've been told we might get some smoke, but that's about it. If the wind changes direction, then we will be in trouble. So as long as the wind stays going the way it is, it should be fine. So I haven't seen any tortoises or anything else like that. But yeah, I don't know. There's really not a lot that lives out here in the desert. I haven't seen any snakes. I haven't seen any scorpions. Um, I haven't seen any mice, but I've heard them. I've seen a jackrabbit. Really interesting. It's basically a rabbit. It's like part rabbit, part kangaroo. Weirdest thing. Like its ears are so long, you think that it's a kangaroo, especially the way it hops. But then when you see it, and you're like, holy shit, that's actually a rabbit. And you're sitting there going, dude, this is just, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. Okay. I'm a big fan of cougars. The right kind of cougars, Bucknut. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to say thanks for being here. I will see you tomorrow if you are on. I've heard of those. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. my time, 11 a.m. Eastern, I will be over on Patreon doing an uncensored behind the scenes. Make sure you have a membership over there if you want to be able to see it. Otherwise, you'll be missing out on it, and you'll only get to see the mornings 2 days a week, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thanks for being here, guys, and I will see you tomorrow morning on Patreon.